We've seen it everywhere, all over the headlines, that DEI is going away. Government contracts are being pulled under the rug day by day, starting from 2024, but it's still something that is affecting right now. And as I started to think about this, I really started to look at why this work is important. For me, it's not just about coming on here and sharing tactics, strategies, and all of that. It's really about solidifying a movement. And that movement is around creating stability, whether you are, because stability applies whether you're an entrepreneur or a corporate professional, right? Stability could look like people facing layoffs right now. Stability could look like individuals who have government contracts or a solid way of doing business, all of a sudden having to have a new way to pivot. And for me, it is about creating some insulation, creating the frameworks and processes that, whether it's an external factor or even an internal one, that you have clear steps on how you can move forward to drive your success in the direction that you want it to go. So rather than having to start from scratch, figure out what's going on, where to move, and for some people being completely out of the game because they never prepared for these opportunities to shift or for doors to seemingly close, it is important to me to use this platform as a way to illuminate what opportunities are present. There are several organizations that are still committed to working with women-owned businesses, especially. For example, the Women's Business Enterprise National, can't remember the C, WeBank is what essentially it's called. There are organizations that are still committed to working with small business women-owned firms. I think the headlines don't ever cover those things. It's always the negative about what was lost, what was gone, what people are no longer doing. But we miss the portion where there are organizations that are still deeply committed to partnerships with organizations like yours. That information can be found various places, right? So any organizations that are still in partnership with WeBank or any other minority owned, supplier owned organizations and entities that find this to be an important part of how they make connections with business owners, those are the best places and companies to be connecting with. I know prior to the whole shift in what's happening in the government and honestly in our entire economy, it's not even just affecting one group of people. It seems like day after day, one group is attacked over another. And prior to this, there were organizations that had committed to spending $1 billion with small business vendors. They called it this Billionaires Roundtable. And I remember checking it out. Matter of fact, what I should have done and what I'm actually going to do while y'all are with me now, because there is no should, we'll just do it here in the moment, to see what is the status of that Billionaire Roundtable that I know was very popular back in, I can't even say back in the day because it really wasn't that long ago. It's coming up with all types of stuff. Meet the Billionaire Roundtable. Here we go. So this was back in, let's see. This is a site on it, but so let's see which ones. The ones that were listed here, again, this has possibly shift, but we had Apple, we had AT&T, CDW, Bank of America, CVS, Ford, Home Depot, Honda, IBM, Kaiser Permanente, Meta, Microsoft, P&G, Verizon, Toyota. These were all the 2023 members of the Billionaire Roundtable. And this site, which is the veteran-owned business certification, cited that these companies had spent more than $4.3 billion with certified veteran-owned businesses in 2023. Crazy, right? These companies are an elite group of Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies that are committed to spending over $1 billion annually with said organizations. So let's go here. Okay, this is exactly what I was looking for. So when I look at the website today, they're having a 2025 summit. So see, some things have not changed. This is the information that needs to be in our purview, because for so long, it can easily seem like, all these opportunities are gone. They're literally still having events and organizations or connections today. This organization or collective has been in place for over 25 years, and they remain steadfast in supporting the success of business enterprises through supply chain engagement, which is a fancy way of saying doing vendor partnerships and deals. These are the types of organizations that we want to be a part of, understanding, not necessarily be a part of, that we want to be connected with, because these are the organizations that are still committed. So as I'm looking here now, when I am checking out their 2025 summit, I'm not seeing exactly what I want to share with y'all. Like, who are the organizations that are still a part of this? Is this still a active community? Which it is still an active community, but I remember before they were listing all of the organizations that were a part. And there's so many things called the Billionaires Roundtable, which is funny in itself. Yeah, so even on their Instagram, they're talking about several organizations that are still a part of it. I think this is an important point to consider. Some of these organizations you may not have specifically heard of. However, they have budget and funding to bring in folks like you. So it's not just about working with the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Googles of the world. They're your local bank, financial, whatever the name is for you. Your local bank, First Citizens, First Financial, not even talking about your Bank of Americas, but those credit unions. There are contract opportunities in those organizations for things like leadership development, professional development, soft skills, your school systems. Like, all around you are these opportunities that just take one contact and one conversation. So while I'm pulling up these things about larger organizations, even JP Morgan is a part of this billionaire roundtable. There's so many different organizations. But where people miss the mark is they think they need to have these big, huge brand partnerships or these big, huge names. But how many of y'all, don't matter what name or logo is out there, as long as they have the money, as long as they have the budget to bring you in? And in fact, most times in these lesser known organizations, there's no one reaching out, talking about the things that they could do to support these organizations like you could be doing. Everybody wants to run after RFPs, which I understand. Everybody wants opportunities that come to them. Here's the thing about that, though. Everybody wants to do that. Everyone. Would you really want to I'm not going to say waste. Let me go back. Would you want to spend your time putting together this long drawn out RFP response that you and 11 other people are doing, where they're only going to choose one organization? Or would you rather use that same amount of time to develop relationships to be one of one? To go where everybody isn't going. Because when I tell you with the whole RFP situation, that is like moths to a flame. Everybody's going to get it. It's going out to whatever networks. Everybody's going to put a response together and you could win it. But I'm going to think about, where is my odds the highest? And my odds will be the highest with a connection that I can make over me trying to spend hours putting together an essay for an RFP response. Not to say don't do it, because I've done it. And I will continue. If I see opportunities that come up, I will respond to them. But that is not my primary way. And I think that's one of the major issues that I see a lot of business owners make, is that I've seen people literally say, oh, well, if they're looking, then I'm going to respond. And I'm like, yeah, but you and everybody else wants that. So if you want quicker opportunities, if you want more lucrative opportunities, if you want your time to be valued, a skill to learn is how to get into rooms and be the only person that they're talking to be the only relation, to be the only connection that they have, because you brought the idea to the table. That's what the Get Corporate Clients Now movement means to me. It means getting in the spaces where, again, the money hasn't disappeared. It's just moved in a different space. So I need to know, how do I speak about what I do to be relevant now? How do I ensure? I thought about doing this reel where I would actually get some eggs and put them in a basket, because that's what we're typically doing. Even if you had an 8-figure deal with the government, that's not set in stone. It used to be that way. People used to think that the government always pays on time. The government, that's easy money. That's guaranteed money. Is it? No. So how do we insulate ourselves as businesses? How do we insulate ourselves as leaders to make sure that whether those external or internal factors are happening, we still end up on solid ground? My favorite little soundbite from Oprah has been reigning free in my head recently. And it was, she was being interviewed, and the interviewer was like, you're doing this Oprah show, and what if it doesn't do well? And she's like, I will do well. If it's not this, it'll be something else. I won't crumble if this particular thing doesn't work out. Because I don't know she didn't say this, but I'm thinking about this now. I don't know all the factors and things that could happen. I can only control what I can do. There's so many other factors to a thing working out that there's no way all of my eggs can just simply be in one basket. Like an election, that's out of my control. So what can I control? How can I spread myself to not be everywhere just to be there, but to be in the spaces that matter for what my vision, for what my expertise is, and for who's looking for it next. All right, if you don't want this time to end, check out this next video. Be sure to subscribe for other candid conversations like this. And if you are wanting to figure out your next steps as it relates to getting into the corporate space and replacing or enhancing the work that you're doing, go ahead and check the link in the comments to schedule some time to chat. I'll see you on the next one.